Welcome to another episode of Off Script. I'm Jamaal Bernard, and I have a special guest with me, Ebony McMorris. Ebony, how are you doing?
Man, I'm doing good. I'm sitting here with you, the man. What's going on at the
Oh,
White House?
I know this is so
We
exciting. It's so
here.
exciting,
Yes.
and for a couple of reasons. Right?
Yeah.
This is part of history for Jamaal Bernard.
Can we pause for that? We can pause for
Yes.
the cause. Let it breathe, because we don't know what it's going to be like.
Exactly,
ahead.
exactly. Oh man, I'm so excited about this conversation that we're gonna have. One, because of who you are. You have done so much in the community of radio and television from a reporter standpoint. From your background is in writing,
Right.
reporting. You probably worked the camera for all I know.
And my church, when I was young, that's how I started.
That's how you started?
I was in the camera ministry. Shout out to my cousin Attilia Simon, who ran it. And I had back in the day, the big boom mic. And I was I'm still small, but I was a little thing on the boom mic. So yeah, the church helped me.
Yeah. So you sound like these artists, these R&B artists, right?
Yeah, right.
But tell us about Ebony. Who is Ebony? Because I got a couple of questions. Because you got a lady. How do you pronounce it? I don't want to mispronounce it.
Bago.
Bago.
Yes.
So we got to talk about Lady Bago, and then we got to talk about
Lady
Ebony
Bago.
Morris.
Yes.
McMorris.
So who am I? You know what? That's why I be asking God sometimes. Like, God, who am I? What are we doing today? But when I think about my life and my journey, I first have to start where I'm from. I'm DC native all the way,
Okay.
Chocolate City.
All right.
And I grew up in a time at the height of the drug epidemic in Edgewood, in Ward 5 in DC. And I grew up wanting to tell my story.
Nice.
Seeing reporters come and cover the area and say this and say that, but I was the community.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And that helped fuel my passion, on top of, at a young age, I was like, I want to be a reporter. And then God just showing me glimpses and giving me opportunities to just be my own town crier in some ways.
Yeah.
But also wanting to tell a different story than what people tell about our community, right?
Yes.
Not just the struggle, but the beauty and the progress and the promise of that.
Yeah.
So I see myself as a fighter, someone wanting to liberate. Like, I'm like, what are we doing today?
Yes.
And then sometimes I'm like, not today. But I will say this. My mother used to sign my cards as I was growing up, saying, to my award-winning White House correspondent.
Wow.
And at one point I had given up on that because I was like, when you get in the industry, you really see what the industry is about.
Yes.
But you can't run from what God has for you. And a American Urban Radio Network, after working with NBC, after working with Roland Martin Show, Black News Network, and several other networks, I was done. And I was like, God, you ain't got to do it. I'm good. I'm tired. I want to be a teacher. Just be solid, like stability. And they said, do you want to come on board? And it made me cry, because God has shown up like that so many times in my life, where I've been wanting to run or not do things. And he was like, no, I've placed you here.
Did you hear that? Did you hear the guy say that again?
No, there are times in my life when I wanted to run, and still God brings me back to the promise, back on that journey. And he said, I've placed you here. So it's not about the title. It's not about, white, great, right? Wanted to do it, but now I'm here. And so then the next question is, God, why am I here?
Yeah.
Right? Why am I here? And so because of that, when you have to ask that means you got to trust him.
Yeah.
To reveal to you why I have you in particular in this space at this time, Esther.
And the crazy, right, Esther, right?
Esther.
And the crazy thing is sometimes just glimpse of it, right? So that can be a frustrating part, working with God, right?
God, I love you, but yes.
Right? Yes, because there is tensions being a Christian, walking the path, trying to follow what you believe God has called you.
Trying to muzzle your mouth.
Yes,
Can we talk? Y'all, they want to get to some deep old sin. No, trying to muzzle your mouth and not be your own stumbling block.
Yep.
Or when God says, I am your plan A, you'd be like, okay, what about plan B? This B and this C is real good, because this might bring more money or more this and more that. But he always brings you back to purpose. And when you begin to align in it, you can then rest in it.
Yeah, say it again.
Yeah.
You got to say that again.
When you align with it, you can then rest with it.
You find out you're a preacher on the
No,
low.
I am a White House correspondent. I'm married to a pastor.
Oh, so your husband's rubbing off on you.
Don't tell him that. No, but it is, we are in strange times,
Yes.
but aren't we always in some ways
Yep.
in that time? And so it doesn't matter whatever facet of your life, your career, your marriage, relationships, whatever, you always got to trust the process.
Yeah. Yep. And it's so true. And I was so excited to be here with you because
I was nervous. Can I say when
why?
I don't know. I know you. I know I know the legacy. I'm like, oh, and I'm in this White House all the time, but I'm like, oh, okay, man of God.
No. Well, thank you. I humbly say thank you, but no, I'm a person, trying to still figure some things out.
Yeah.
Still in that journey, and I'm excited because I was having a conversation with a couple of individuals, and this was a predominantly white group of individuals, and they said, honestly, Jamaal, let me ask you a question. They said, why is it so big that y'all celebrate when you see black television? Oh, it's a whole black cast. We're excited. We rave about it. Oh, first black president. We rave about it. And stuff like that. I said because what happens for our people, we tend not to have examples of what our kids can strive for.
Absolutely.
Right? And so when I look at even though everything happened with Kamala Harris,
yes,
my daughters see somebody that looks like them,
right,
doing something big,
right,
bigger than just the normal things that they put on our community. Then coming here and speaking with you, my daughters, are gonna be able to see somebody that stands bigger, right, than the limitation that they tend to put on females of color.
Absolutely.
And so I was so excited, and I said, Mina, please, we got to make sure this happens. We got to make sure this happens. But going back to this conversation, as I say, thank you for staying the course. Thank you for running this race and not quitting. Right, I know quitting sometimes can look better, right, than the future that's ahead of you, but you didn't, and it's a big thing. When you think about all the stuff that you have done, as a woman of color, what would you say to some of these emerging women, ladies, young women, coming up and saying, I want to be the next Ebony. I want to be the next, female president. I want to be the next, this and that.
I first say you don't want to be the next Ebony. You want to be you want to be you. You want to be the highest level and the form of you. And the only reason why I started there is because many of us, when we're trying to figure out our journey, we will find someone like most journalists, I want to be the next Oprah.
Yes.
And God called Oprah to be Oprah.
Yes.
And you don't know whether you are limiting yourself by saying that or putting yourself in a space that God hasn't called you in.
Yeah.
But to be
That's good.
But to enter
you sure you're not a preacher?
I ain't.
I was about to start taking notes, right?
You will not see preacher nowhere when they put my name on this screen. Let me just say that. And if they did, they lied. No, but it's true because I wanted to emulate so many different people. I mean, the greats, right?
Yeah.
But God was like, I've given you a voice. It took me a minute to find my voice and to settle in my voice and not want to be like. You can have an example of things, but you got to tap into who you are. And so to get into this industry, I would say to any industry, trust the process.
Trust the process.
Make a plan, make a vision for where you want to go, right? Just do know that will get derailed a little bit.
Yeah.
But it will, because that's a part of the trust.
Yeah.
Make a vision, study your industry. I will always say that, especially now, anywhere you go, everything is evolving. Technology is taking over.
Yes.
So even as a correspondent here in the White House, I'm looking at ways to reinvent myself. How can I stand out? Okay, God, I'm going back to the question, why do you have me here?
Yeah.
What is my voice? And then how do I utilize that? But first, trust the process. Study your industry. Not just those around you, but look who's at the cream of the crop. And then I would look to see how technology could be transforming that.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that are being replaced. And so God ain't replacing my purpose, but the vehicle may be a little different. And don't give up. We hear that all the time, but sometimes when you in the trenches, you ain't got no money in your pocket. The resources seem like they dried up. Can I just tell you, if I really could go down my whole life, it was usually when I was at the end of my rope. We always say in church, he don't come when you want, but he right on time. He really does. You be like, my God.
Right?
But when it comes, you're like, that's why I had to go through that.
Yes.
A plus B always equals C when we follow according to God's plan.
That's good.
But I've had to keep a journal. And because I often go back to it and have to read like, God, you did do it. Okay, I'm tripping.
Yeah.
Let me just settle here.
Yep.
And then I would also say something that that I would say to most Americans: get some rest. Self-care is so important. And the lessons that I'm giving aren't always about my industry, but it's about how you take care of your temple, how you take care of your mind. Because I've been at a place where I felt like I literally was about to lose my mind.
Wow.
That's a place I never want to go again.
That's good. And the journaling is a major part.
Oh my gosh.
For a couple of reasons, just to get stuff off your mind, right? You just, you can download, you have somebody to download. But also, I ministered this message where I told the people, I said, remember when, this is the title of the message. And you go back through your life, even if you just go back to 10 years, and you start seeing where God showed up.
Ooh.
Because we tend to forget, right? Things are
forgetting.
good, right? And we forget, and then we go back and say, remember when. And this is necessary to remember when, because sometimes the future doesn't look that clear, right? So we go, remember when God showed up. So the future, even though it doesn't look so clear, God's going to show up.
Oh my
right?
goodness, we want 5 steps. He'd be like, here's 1 step.
Yeah, exactly.
Master this step.
Yes.
Before you try to get to 3, 4, 5, we be like, well, are you going to have me? He'd be like, haven't I always had you?
Yep.
I'm the one who gave you. Here's the thing. When you realize it's not about you, when you take yourself out of it, then you be like, oh, okay, it's not my plan. I'm leaning on all of my own understanding, my own experience, what I see in front of me. And so you can't fight like that. You can't fight bound by your own experience.
So you're working with one of the longest running Black-owned
networks. Yes, American Urban Radio Networks. Yes.
And they have been here doing work. There's a significance. What is the significance of reporting, especially from that platform?
So let me just say this. I'm going to start with Allison Dunnigan. Allison Dunnigan was the first Black female reporter, White House credentials. And she said, I do the same stories that everybody else, and I'm paraphrasing. But one thing I do come in here doing is fighting oppression. And I'm lifting up my voice for people whose voices haven't always been lifted up. And so being able to serve with American Urban Radio Network, Black owned and operated, means I'm not like I have been in other places where I kind of have to explain why.
Yeah.
Like you had to explain the question, why is it so important that, when you see people Black people pop up in these situations? Because we come from a shared experience, a lived experience. And so when I come in this room, my focus is a little different. My focus is the Black community. What is coming out of this White House? How are you affecting people who look like me?
Yeah.
People who've gone through what I have gone through, and what are the hopes and opportunities that you're bringing? So AURN here, they give me the liberty to drill down Black. And I always say that in my interviews, I drill down Black.
Yep. No, that's good.
And we're only one of two Black
two.
and owned operated networks here at the White House.
Wow.
And that big old room that you just came from, that briefing room, it's 2 Black owned and operated stations.
Wow. Yeah, no, it's needed because one of the biggest things. Somebody said, "How do you vote?" I said, "Well, I vote from a couple of different lenses." I said, one, I vote from a Christianity, right? How does this going to affect my Christian walk? 2, I vote from my Blackness, right? And if there's nobody to be reporting what is going to happen, right, based on the decisions that are being made from the White House out of D.C. that's going to affect us. What do we do? How do we, reconcile some of these things? So I appreciate you and the work that you're doing, because that helps us keep a finger on the pulse of what decisions is about to happen and how it's going to affect me personally.
Right.
And there's a reality that certain decisions are made. Forget about us.
Absolutely. I mean, we can run through history and run through time and see that. Why have we had to have laws for affirmative action? Why have we had to have laws that when it gets redlining? Why have we had to have laws when it comes to housing? Because oftentimes, Black folks have been forgot about and preyed upon.
Yeah.
Right? And so I believe that there is power in the work that I'm doing as a journalist, not to just shed light on the issues, but to also bring our people to the table for solutions and to hold leaders accountable.
Yes.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what direction you lean, as long as it's leading in the direction of justice.
Yeah, the common good.
And you want accountability.
Yep.
But if you want to do things and hide your hands, I can't do it. And so I'm here to look into those details and facts that most people aren't looking into, to go over the report and say, why are you doing this? What are you going to do in this area? How are you going to bring about justice?
Yeah, that's amazing. Okay. Yeah, the producer is rushing me.
I ain't
So-
nobody worry about your producer. Everybody worry about the producer.
But
You at the White House. I'm running this show. No play.
there we go. You better tell somebody.
Where is the producer? Oh, producer, where art thou? No.
How does your faith affect your day to day? I know how it affected your journey, but now look at your day to day, everything that you're doing. How does your faith affect that?
My faith is about justice. My faith is about hope.
Yeah.
It is intertwined in everything that I do. Me sitting in that seat is about faith. Even thinking that I can actually stand up, ask a question, and move the needle anywhere. That you got to have faith to do that.
Yes.
Because me within myself, no, I'd crawl under a rock or something like, oh my God, no. And so my faith gives me the boldness and the courage to walk into a room where I'm not represented.
Yes. Say that again.
My
Yes.
faith
Yes.
gives me the ability to go in front of legislators and question them, and they look back and say, who are you to question me? My faith gives me the boldness
Yes.
to go after those things that I know are bringing harm to communities, harm to women's bodies. My faith enables me to do that. If I didn't have that, I would not be here. My faith, like along my journey, led a little black girl who people didn't think was going to be anything, gave me the faith and the courage to say, I'm going to be in this place, and I didn't see me in this place.
Wow.
And I barely still see me in this place. It's the same faith that I believe that even Vice President Kamala Harris would have to have to run for office, where, first of all, no woman has occupied, and double down, no black woman has. How do you have to have that, because everything in the world is going to be coming against you, and sometimes that includes you.
Yeah.
My faith helps me to even stand up to myself.
That's good. That's good, man. I'm gonna ask this one more time. You sure you're not a preacher?
I'm a White House correspondent. My name is Ebony McMorris. No, but it's faith.
Yeah.
Because we're living in times when people they're looking for answers.
Yeah.
We just had another mass shooting. It's like 300 and something mass shooting that we've had, right? All the wealth in this country, all the disparities that we see, and at the same time we're dealing with this. What I mentor in the community, and the one thing that broke my heart in talking to teens, I said, what is the one thing that you want? What is the one thing that you're dealing with?
Yeah.
And the 17-year-old said, I've been to more funerals than I have lived.
Wow.
He said, in my community, we feel hopeless. Wow.
Yeah.
In the nation's capital.
Yeah.
Where on one end I can see the White House, and then the next minute I can be right in a food desert. That doesn't make sense. It's not adding up.
Yep. No, it's heartbreaking, you know, that here it is 2024 and we're still dealing with some of this stuff.
And it's not because people aren't pulling up their pants. It's not because some of the dumb things that we mull over. It is purposeful. It is designed. Somebody's profiting off of it. Somebody's getting rich off of it, while we are putting the excuse on other people.
Yes.
I'm here because I want to help break systematic barriers, and I want to be the voice to do that.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Last question. I know.
Say that, are you sound like a real preacher now. You said you was going to end 2 questions ago, but okay.
What would you say to your younger self?
Ooh. I'll give you 2 pieces of advice that I would say probably a little earlier. One may not make sense, but it will to some people who are older. Well, the first is always trust the process. Trust the process. The second thing I would say is closure is overrated. And a friend of mine told me that. I was like, he's like, Ebony, closure is overrated. I was like, that is the dumbest thing. Till I realized I was wasting time and losing time mulling over things that I could not control. And I wouldn't move until I had closure in those areas.
That's good. That's a nice perspective.
And I was like, I needed help. And he was like, closure is overrated. That's my advice to you. And I was like, no. But I have learned to pick up and move on sometimes. If it comes, it comes. But I have to move on. Because you can get stuck in life. Closure
is overrated.
It is. The second piece of advice my mama's mama gave her. And it was, if a man don't love you, you don't love him. And relationships can trip you up in life. And that's why I say that. So it's a little unrelated, but it is deeply related.
No, it's deeply related because your relationships has a direct effect
on
how you live life.
It does.
Yep. Girl, thank you so much for this. Thank you. Hey, I come and hang out with you. I like your vibe. I'm like, yo, you are amazing. Come on, give me some. You are amazing. I love the energy. And like I said, I love to meet individuals that I can direct my kids to. Say, hey, look, go check out Ebony. Watch her and see how God is moving.
Bring the babies up in here.
I am.
The seat of power, a place where policy happens to directly affect your lives, that affect our people. Come, experience, take it in, and then go back and make change.
We're gonna make it happen. Thank you so much, Ebony. Ebony, where can people follow you? Stay connected with you?
Yes, all across social media at Ebony McMorris, or you can go to aurn.com and follow my latest stories.
Thank you for watching or listening to Off Script with Jamaal Bernard and our special guest, Ebony McMorris.